our beach nourishment project.
Call this meeting to order, and if you're able, please stand. And we're splitting the difference between that clock over there and this clock here, so that's what. Don't know which one's right, but I think ours is right. But anyway, we appreciate each and every one of you coming tonight. Start off this new year with a great meeting and great people at the first meeting. We appreciate each and every one of you coming, and hopefully we'll get some topics covered tonight that you're here for. But at this time, I'm going to ask our Mayor Pro-Tem Buddy Fowler if he'll lead us in a word of prayer.
Let's bow our heads. Our Father, we're thankful for the many blessings you brought into our lives and for the mending and healing you provided across the country during 2019. We're looking forward and excited about 2020. Lord, we ask you to continue to be with us. Bless this country. Bless all those that participate in sharing your beliefs, Father. Father, also we would like you to be with the people in Puerto Rico through the catastrophes they're going under and with. Also be with our military overseas. Be with them, bring them home safely, protect them and protect their families, Father. We have lost some community members this past year that were impact players in our community, Father. We know that they're with you. We ask you to continue to bless their families and lift their families up as well. Father, we also ask you to be with this council tonight as we make our decisions and try to do the business for the town of Surf City. We ask you to guide and lead us in the direction that will make the best decisions. We ask all these things in your most precious name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Ask Councilman Don Helms if he'll lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and you may be seated. Well, like I say, I appreciate all of you coming, and we're ready to get off to a new year here. We've got some new people aboard, and we'll got another one coming on. Got a new town manager that will be coming in the 15th of this month and get started. And Ashley's been meeting with him and getting him up to speed on everything that's going on, right? And of course, she's still been working hard, worked with some of the engineers today. She's a pretty good negotiator. She looks after our money, that's one thing, so we appreciate that. But anyway, like I say, I appreciate each and every one of you being here. And is anybody from Linda's Lake Lights here? I noticed. There they are over there. What are you doing standing way over on the side over there?
We got seats up front you can sit
if
you like to.
Come on up here.
Get up here.
I don't know how many of you got the opportunity, but the lights out on Highway 17, you turn by Bojangles and go in there to it. How many of you went in there and saw those lights? Isn't that amazing?
Yep.
These folks right here have put all the work into that and the money. And they do it just for the love of the community. And, of course, I know my grandchildren, I think they went through about 3 or 4 times. So, I don't know if we have to pay for each trip. I don't know what's going to happen. But anyway. But everybody that has been back in there. And, of course, they do take donations, and I plan on trying to help them some by next year anyway. But anyway, they have done a fantastic job with it. So we are going to give them a proclamation, and it says, whereas the Lake Linda Christmas lights are a unique celebration to the holiday season, and this year it was the 7th annual event, excuse me. I'm getting carried away here. Whereas Lake Linda lights take place in Register's residence with the opening ceremony beginning in November and running through January every year. Whereas Lake Linda Lights is a collaboration of handmade lights, love for the family and the community. Whereas Michael and Tanya, these two people right here, always enjoy viewing Christmas lights with their small children. they are sparked to start the story of they were sparked to start the story of their own. And whereas the name was inspired by Linda Register, Michael's mom, after she survived cancer. And whereas the light shown grows larger each year as Michael designs and handmakes each light design. Now, therefore, I, Douglas C. Medlin, Mayor of the town of Surf City, do hereby declare January the 7th, 2020 as Lake Linda Christmas Lights Day in the town of Surf City, and encourage all citizens and community members to enjoy brilliant light displays and family fun activities. And it is sealed by one of our council and our town clerk. And we appreciate it. Thank you. Y'all got anything you want to say? 30 minutes. You can have 30 minutes to talk.
All I want to say is thank everybody for coming to see me.
Okay.
Toys, which helped a lot.
I know, yeah, they were collecting for the toy drive too. So they did good on that. But that's the kind of people that we have in our community. And as we go through this year, we're going to try to spotlight some of the other people that are doing great things for our community. And a lot of people know about it, but I think they need a little extra attention. And right now, Edna Graybo, is anybody here with 6058 6th Street Beautification Award? All righty. Anybody here from Publix? Oh, I should have seen you sitting back there. Come on up here. Well, Edna Graybo, she got the House of the Month award. But now Publix got the Business of the Month award, and it's for their looks. But now we were talking about doing stuff for the community. It doesn't matter what we get ready to do, we call Publix, right? And they're right there. They offer us all kinds of food, and just during the hurricane, they really looked after us during the hurricane. But they do for a lot of events. And then that's like when we have beach cleanup and everything. If you've been out there with them, you notice that there's a whole slew of them, a whole busload of people from Publix that comes and helps us pick up trash. So Publix is definitely a community-oriented business. So we appreciate you keeping Publix in mind as you buy your groceries and your pharmaceuticals, right? Too. And the pharmacy. But we just appreciate you watching after them. But once again, we appreciate you being in our community.
It's our pleasure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. You haven't seen Chris, have you?
No, he should be on his way. If not, I'll fill in for him.
Okay, all right. Well, we all just wait and do that later then.
That would be great.
Okay. All righty. We ask that all attendees please set their cell phones to silent or into vibrate mode. The council offers the public an opportunity to speak during the meeting. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes each, must be directly issue oriented with the agenda items for this meeting or an issue which the council has control. And our chief down there keeps up with the time, so he'll let you know when the 3 minutes is up. And citizen speakers will be acknowledged in order that they signed up to speak, and will address all comments to the board as a whole, not one individual council member. Speakers will address the council from the speaker's podium at the front of the room, and just make sure when you come up that you give your name and address, and discussion between speakers and members of the audience are not allowed. Public comment is not intended to require council to answer any impromptu questions. Speakers are expected to be civil in their language and presentation. Any comments where the primary purpose is to promote business or candidacy shall not be allowed. Okay. Now, did you want to do something before we adopt the agenda? Did you say something about it? Doing something before we I thought somebody did. No? Okay. All right. In accordance with the council's adopted rules of procedure, council members shall reserve responses, if any, for the council form of the agenda. Okay, at this time we'll go to the adoption of the agenda. Without other items being considered separately, a motion to adopt the meeting agenda is in order.
I make a motion, we adopt it.
A second.
Second. All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carried. Okey-doke. Mayor Pro-Tem appointment. All right. Do we have a, do we have a motion?
Make a motion.
Okay.
Appoint Buddy as the.
Buddy?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carried. Approval of consent agenda, and everybody's been able to look at the consent agenda, right?
Yep.
Okay, what I have a motion on the consent agenda?
I make a motion, we approve it also. Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay. All right. You want to present the information? How many we got signed up to?
Three.
You want to speak first or do that first?
I can, or I can do it during the manager's report.
Okay, I'll just let you do it under the manager's report. All right, it's time for public comment, so we go by the list.
Okay. First, we have Mr. Jack Solak of 2408 South Shore Drive. Mr. Jack Solak of 2408 South Shore Drive.
What's your address?
I'm sorry I didn't make the last meeting. I was in the hospital. The last meeting I was in St. Martin.
Right.
Before that, I
there's
was
a
in the hospital.
there's a difference there, Jack.
There's a little bit of difference. I love St. Martin. It's my second favorite island. The first is Topsail Island.
Right, there you go.
I just wanted to mention something about beach nourishment. Every member on the council that was running, all the candidates were running and didn't make it, had that at the top of their list. Beach nourishment is number one. Thank God for that, because it is the most important thing. Without the beach, we don't need a welcome center. We don't need this. We don't need roads fixed. We don't need food trucks. We don't need mega decks. We don't need any of that stuff. We need beach nourishment now, and it's being done. And so I want to thank everybody for promoting that and keeping it going. And hopefully we can do an actual beach nourishment with the sand dredging in November of next year. Oh,
Right.
November of this year. So thank you for
Right,
doing
November of this year. Okay. Thank you, Jay.
Next, I have Ms. Sandy Monroe of 316 North Shore Drive.
I just wanted to ask a few questions about committees. That was another thing that was talked a lot about, community and citizen involvement with the council and with the things that are happening. And I will admit I have not checked in since the spring about availability of openings on some committees, but I did take a look again today on the information that's online. And I did have a really hard time finding the application. So if you want to apply to be on a committee, you have to go in the search bar and find it in the documents and things like that. So that was a little difficult. And also there's not a lot of information about each committee on the page itself. So what I wanted to ask is, if we have some needs, I did see that in the minutes of the last workshop, they talked about not a lot of people showing up at some of the, I think it was the beautification committee, some other committees. If there are positions out there, can we put a call out through Facebook or some other ways to let us know that I've been sitting here thinking I want to volunteer? Well, now I know there's a need and I can step up. So I just wanted to make that suggestion that if we can make that a little more front and center, people asked for it, people promised it. So let's, as citizens, put our feet to the pavement and step up if we said we wanted that. And if you can help us by letting us know, that would be really great.
Thank you, ma'am.
Next, I have a Mr. Richard Calloway of 106A South Shore Drive.
Yes, Richard Calloway, 106A South Shore Drive. And I'd like to know, I noticed there's a big push of sand south of the pier, and I was just wondering if at some point and or when a push might take place north of the pier.
She's going to address that as far as the sand push and everything, or the sand haul. She's going to address that in her minutes.
Okay, and then I actually have a second question, and that is the sand that's going to be pushed, will everyone that's on the ocean receive, so to speak, about an equal amount of sand, or some will get additional and some will get less? And maybe that will be addressed in what you have to say.
One thing we were hoping, both of our engineers were supposed to be here tonight to deliver the work that they've been doing and the work that they're planning on doing. And I hadn't seen either one of them yet. So.
Okay, and I guess I have an actual follow-up question, and the follow-up would be, if you could address it, if some people are going to get more sand than others, could you explain why some people are getting more sand and some people are getting less sand? Because I've heard that maybe that would be an issue, that people who maybe need more sand are going to get more sand, and some people, and it seems like if you're paying your taxes that everyone should get an equal amount. Does that make sense or no?
I can address that.
Okay. Okay. Thank you all.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That completes the public comment section.
Okay, that's all the public comments. Well, guess what? You're next.
Before I get into the beach nourishment, I'll just update on a couple of other items. We had a meeting today with T.A. Loving, who has been our water sewer contractor for our force main work. They also did the work out at the school. They have finished up the work for that project. We're just finalizing the paperwork, and that should be completed in the next 10 days, and then that project will be completely finalized. So we're very thankful to move on from that. Today, the state soil scientist, along with other state representatives, met with staff out at Juniper Swamp to look at the areas that we had identified out there that would be best for additional spray fields. The soil scientists that we have contracted with, they were able to get some answers that they were looking for so that they can start the permitting application for that work to get started. Thursday and Friday, we'll be conducting interviews with the firms that responded to our construction manager at risk RFQ, and then a recommendation will be made at the council workshop next week. Okay, as far as beach nourishment goes, I'm not quite sure what the expectation is, but I'll give you what I know. So all of the emergency burn work for the imminent critical areas that was taking place before Thanksgiving, after the turtle moratorium, that work has been completed. Now from the pier south, the same contractor is hauling sand in to fill in those areas that were not deemed imminent critical, so that we do have a continuous berm from the town line up to the pier. Hopefully, in the very near future, we will be doing the same thing from the pier north. Realize that everybody's property is just as important as everybody else's. So the thought process is to get that protection out there in case we go through another hurricane or nor'easter or whatever the case may be before our private project starts. So as far as the private project is concerned, our engineers sent us this timeline. It is a projected timeline, so I'll kind of go through it based on what he's got here. We're currently in the permitting application process. We're currently in that stage now. We did receive notice over the holidays that our application was accepted, so it's now going through to get approval from the other state and federal agencies, and we should have an answer on that and receive our permit by February. Once we have that permit, then we will be able to go and bid out the dredge work for that project. So he anticipates that will begin around March 16th, and that will take approximately 30 to 45 days. And then we will award the project for the dredge work around May the 12th at that commissioners meeting. Once we have awarded that contract, the project is slated to begin construction November 15th. That would be of 2020. And then 4 to 6 months for that to take place. So November to April is when the dredging work would take place. All along there, we also have our shallow draft inlet funding that we have our application that is going in, and it's being reviewed from January. Hopefully, we will have that funding by April, is what he is anticipating. And then he anticipates that the truck haul north of the pier, he is anticipating that work to be September 15th to October 15th.
Now that's the truck haul that in case we don't have enough sand.
Correct.
In the dredge project, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
And that would give us our continuous berm in case the private project is pushed out a little bit. Okay. But that's pretty much the timeline that he has given us. Everything is always subject to change when you're dealing with other agencies that control what we do. So we hope that this is fairly accurate and that we can stick to it.
Is it possible for us to put this on our website?
Yes.
And put it out there for everybody to be able to pull up and look at it and see.
It's
posted. And if they have questions, they can certainly contact the manager here at the town and get the questions answered. But I think it needs to be on our website.
Yes, it is out there. And just to answer Mr. Callaway's question about the amount of sand, why it may seem that some are getting more than others. Before Hurricane Florence, we were in the process of doing our private project and getting that underway as far as surveying and whatnot is concerned. So our beach engineer, TI Coastal, they had gone out and did the survey of the beach. So that is primarily what they're using now as a template to fill in. We cannot do any more based on our permit. We can't do any more than that template. So how the dune was prior to the hurricane is how we have to put it back. Now, once we start the actual private nourishment project, that's where the dune for everyone completely is reshaped and the beach is widened. Does that answer your question, any? Okay.
You got anything else?
No.
That's it? Okay. Well, let's go to council forum, and I'll start off with
New business first.
Huh?
New business.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Oh, Lordy. I'd hate to not give Amy a chance. Amy, you ready for yours? You're going to have to come up here. Over there. Okay, this is Amy. She is our new planning director, and this is her first presentation. So
that she didn't know she was doing.
Huh?
That she didn't know she was doing.
That she didn't know she was. Well, now Steve told you were.
Maybe. So tonight I'm asking the town to pass the resolution approving the designation of the map review officer, which is the person that signs the final plats when they get recorded over at the county office. What we have done is removed everybody else, and Steve Padgett and Amy Kimes will be able to sign off on those maps prior to recordation over in the county offices.
Okay. So that's just some getting things straightened out work, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We don't need a motion on that or anything, do we? We do need a motion?
I make a motion, we approve those two individuals.
A second.
All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carried. Now what? Anything else? Okay. All right, now the council forum. Okay, Don, we'll start with you.
Okay, I just want to I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. One thing that the mayor said, one of our citizens that we lost, I think it was Buddy, not the mayor, was Johnny James. They're going to have a service March the 21st, 3:30 p.m. At the Moose Lodge. And for your information, it'd be nice if people sent get well cards to Shirley. She has been transferred to Davis Rehabilitation. Is that what they call it? Rehabilitation in Hampstead or Davis's? I'm not sure what room, but if anyone wants to send a get well card, I know she'll receive it. And we've got a lot of work that's taking place. We're getting ready to start the paving and everything else. So we asked everybody to be patient because there's going to be traffic issues in certain places, and just be patient. We're trying to get the streets paved. And that's all I got.
I just want to say I'm looking forward to 2020. I know that our ship, we've had a few people missing on our ship here for the last year. We've finally filled a lot of positions, and I think that a lot of people have been doing double duty in our city, and I think that it's going to be exciting as our council moves forward, the mayor moves forward this year. I think working with a full staff is going to be exciting. Welcome, Buddy, back to being Mayor Pro-Tem. Glad that worked. And just want to say it's going to be a great 20. I'm glad we've moved into 2020. So I know that sometimes we all look at the negatives, but there are 10 times more positives than have negatives for our city. No doubt about it. So I want to stay focused on the positives. Things aren't always like we want them, and we can't always get what we want. But we're going to move forward as a council, move forward as a community, and we're going to get to the end result, no doubt about it. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Torres.
So I've got a good bit to say, just because I didn't have an opportunity during the last council meeting to really just thank everyone. So I'm going to read off my notes so I don't miss anyone or anything. After last month's swearing-in ceremony, I had the opportunity to speak and thank a few of you personally. However, this evening, I'd like to do that in public. First, to my beautiful wife, Lehia, thank you for your support and sound advice. When we decided to run, her advice to me was pretty simple. She said, don't start going where you've never been, and don't stop going where you always have. And I did just that, so I want to thank you for keeping me on a straight and narrow. Second, a big thank you to our entire campaign team, donors, and many of our strongest supporters. Thank you for believing in me and our vision for Surf City's future. Thank you for honoring me with your vote of confidence. And lastly, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to represent your priorities, your interests, and your concerns. After a long and contested campaign, I am committed to and look forward to working together with the entire team here today. That's everyone. So we can come together united as a community to do what's best for the interests of the town writ large. I won't sit here and pretend on any day to know everything because I don't. However, I am prepared to put in the time and to study the issues closely in order to provide you all with the most reasonable solutions to any problems or challenges. And in closing, I'd like to say whether you voted for me or not, please feel free to contact me at any time with any of your opinions, your thoughts, your concerns, because I think we owe it to all the residents, not just a select few. So I'm open to hearing your thoughts and your opinions on any matter. And again, I'd like to thank you all for your support. Thank you for exercising your right to vote. And thank you for taking the time to join us this evening. And we look forward to seeing you in future meetings. And in closing, I'd like to ask God to bless our community, our troops, and the United States of America. That's all I have. Thank you.
Sir.
Good job.
All right, Mr. Buddy.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm glad to see everyone here tonight. I am glad that we are heading into 2020 on a positive note. I would like to ask if Stephanie, if you could, with the application forms that we have online, maybe to put and we probably got it there, I don't know, I'll be the first to admit that. If we have a vacancy on committees, to list those in a place where they're appropriate, where everybody can see it, and that way they'll be able to fill out the application online and see what's available as well. In response to some of your questions on the beach renourishment thing, I do know that we have what they call a pre-Florence photographs of how much sand was out there and what the height of that sand was, and I think our engineers was working the best of my knowledge to get it back to that same level. Now, in some areas, some had more, some had less, so that may address part of your question you were asking. But it will all get some. But what seems like we'll get more may have been lower at that point, but they have a line they put out that goes the length of the town, and they will put that sand and try to build that sand up to that line when the project is finally finished. So it may seem like they're doing that, or some's getting a lot more than others, but when it's all said and done, we're all going to be eating from the same table and hopefully from the same plate. So I think that'll answer some of your questions on that. The other thing I would like to thank this council here for having the faith in me to reappoint me as their mayor pro tem for the town of Surf City, and I look forward to serving in that post and serving you as citizens. And as Dwight said, we've always been a community, and we function as a community. And any of these council members up here, whether you voted for them, whether you like them or dislike them, we're here to do your service and do your business. Reach out to us with your question. We will do our best to answer your question, or refer you to where you can get the answers to your questions. And if I don't know the answer, and I'm going to speak for the rest of them, which I shouldn't do because you get in trouble when you do that. If we don't know the answer, we'll try to find the answer for you. We will not leave you hanging. But sometimes the answer may not be available, and if that's the case, we will just simply tell you, I don't have the answer. I can't find the answer. Maybe together we can. But we have come a long way, and we got a long ways to go. And with your patience and your diligence and your support for this council and this town and what we're doing, we will make that. And I look forward to what we're going to do in the year 2020. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, certainly not least, but best,
thank you all for coming tonight. I really appreciate it. We are very thankful for our local people in our community, like Mike and Tanya, that go above and beyond to contribute and collect donations. And there's many groups like them that do the same. That during the time of the holidays when people need it most, they give. And that is what I love probably the most about Surf City. We are a giving community, we are a caring community, and we look out for our neighbors. Moving forward in 2020, I look forward to working together with all of Town Council, with all of our department heads to help set priorities, goals, and the agenda for 2020. We need to focus on being resilient after a storm. We need to focus on being smart and being ready to benefit financially after a storm. Because if you focus on spending the money after the storm, like we've done now, we have prepared our dune. We are now invested in our dune. So when the next storm does come, FEMA will reimburse us because we have now invested in that initial dune line with the Sand Hall project and with our private project. So putting and investing in our community in the long run will pay us back. Thank you.
That it?
Yes, sir.
Well, like I say, I hope everybody...
Just one more thing.
All right.
How, if you've got specific examples, and you don't have to give them to us now, but before you leave, if there's an area that you want us to look at so we can see what he's probably talking about, I would like to know what that is.
I think one of the questions has been answered, and not real sure exactly when it's going to occur. Maybe that's...
Are you talking about on the north end or the south end?
Well, actually, I have two questions. Can you tell me when
Okay, well, now what she was talking about a while ago, as far as September and October, that was in case we don't have enough sand in the sound to finish our project next year, then they'll haul sand on the north end of it. But now we are going to haul sand. When they get through with the south end, they'll start moving right on north, hauling sand. Do what? Probably, I don't know, I was hoping they'd be here, probably 2 to 3 weeks from now. Jack says no. Huh? Well, you can make it another week, Jack. But anyway, yeah, when they finish hauling the south, then they'll just finish hauling. They'll continue right on north, right? And so that way, I think they said 2 to 3 weeks finishing up down here. Yes, in the fall, right. Now, well, no, they'll be built further out. They'll be built further out, probably another 100 foot out, further out than they were before the storm. Okay, we'll have more beach after the fall, next fall. In other words, next fall and next winter. When they do the dredging project, then you'll have more than you had before the hurricane. Well, most of it is going to be it's not going to be much higher, but it's going to be a lot longer. Right. Mm-hmm. And
it's not a push.
Right. Yeah, I want to get away. I don't know why everybody is talking about we're doing a push out there now. Yes, they are pushing up some of the sand that they're hauling onto the beach, but that's not a push. A push to me is when you just put the dozers out there and they dig the dirt up from the bottom and pushes up high. So we're not doing an actual push. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're just hauling sand in, and then they put it up against the sand dune with the dozers or whatever. So anyway, and then hauling sand. Now, once we finish the town hall, you will be able to haul your own sand, and you can contract with the Mitchell, and he'll haul you sand when he finishes hauling the town sand. And if you want some more sand hauled in front of your place, then he'll haul you some sand. But he won't be able to do that until he finishes with the town. Now, you won't have to get a permit for it because our permit will cover that. Okay? Also, plantings. If you want to go out there and plant, you can. Now, it has been suggested to us that we not plant them because the plants won't really be able to do that much prior to next fall's beach nourishment project. And then they'll get covered up again. So that's the reason that we're not doing a town-wide planting after this. And then sand fence. You will be able to put sand fence up, but then you're gonna have to take it down again when we start the project next fall. And now, if you've got sand fence on the northern beaches, in other words, basically from the pier north, then you're probably going to need to have that sand up, that fence up, by the time they haul the sand in there, because they won't be able to push on top of the fence. Okay? And can we get some communication out on taking the fences up? Okay. And it'll be we want to get it posted on, Facebook and on our website and all that. but also talking about communication so that we can communicate with you. If you would go to the town, and I guess you would do it through Code Red, is that right? But we need your phone number, your text, and your email. If you could get all that information to the town, then that would make it a lot easier for us to get all the information out to you. I want to try to do a drive and get everybody's information like that so that she can hit a button one time and it all go out to everybody at one time. Code Red does a pretty good job, but I don't think it has all the information in it, and I'm not sure that everybody's signed up for it. So we need to push more on that, getting people signed up.
There's a link on the town's website. On the front page on the left, it says phone and email alerts. If you click that link, it'll take you to the Code Red where you can fill out all of your information.
So, if you folks would do that, it would make it a lot easier for us to get in touch with you. And, of course, we'll try to keep more of it posted on the Facebook and on the website. I think I covered most of what I wanted to cover. But anyway, once again, we appreciate each and every one of you coming. And so, does anybody have anything else? Attorney, have you got something you'd like to present?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you, and happy New Year to everyone. Quickly, the easement, statutory required notice of actions went out. So in the event we need to file condemnation suits to get the easements necessary to go forward with these sand projects, those notices went out last month. And as a reminder, the School of Government's putting on some training in Wilmington on January 23rd for the new Chapter 160D, which pertains to development regulations. If you recall, by January 1 of next year, what used to be under 160A for cities and towns is now going to be recodified under 160D, and it's going to be a pretty significant undertaking to have our ordinances track the new chapter. So the General Assembly gave towns a year and a half to get ready for it, and the School of Government's starting to provide a lot of literature and course materials and training for that. And I hope to be able to, I have a trial scheduled that week that may not go, and if it doesn't, I'm going to attend the one in Wilmington on the 23rd. There's another one on January 22nd in Greenville. So,
might have to attend both of them to absorb it.
Well, they're putting out books, and they're doing webinars, and the school's pretty good about helping cities and towns on something of this magnitude. So.
Right.
And I heard yesterday, but I haven't seen it yet. I think they're also going to do some social media training for municipal employees and elected officials. If I find that out, I'll send that to Stephanie to disseminate to everybody.
All right.
So, and that's all I have.
That's it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we go into closed session pursuant to NCGS 143-318.11 A6 personnel.
Okay, got a motion. Have we got a second? All in favor, raise your hand. Motion carried.